Chapter 1. Learning is a conscious process that requires patience and a clear mind. The mistake many people make is that they try to read or learn under pressure. Learning under undue stress will only force you to study the things that are not important to what you need to know. It's not just about reading. It's about understanding what you are reading. The ability to read and understand isn't a spontaneous activity. It must be continuously practiced. When you fail to grasp the true understanding of what you're learning, you'll find it difficult to implement your thoughts. The most brilliant minds in the world, like Albert Einstein, Aristotle, Bill Gates, etc., didn't become successful by skimming or cramming texts. They took their time to understand the concept of learning, which is to read and understand. When and where you learn is as important as how you learn. Your environment influences your learning techniques. Libraries are always quiet because you learn better when you are not distracted. While some people learn better in the morning, others do it better at night. In this tidbit, you'll learn how to discover the best learning time for yourself. In the following chapters, several learning techniques and mistakes are discussed in a way that will make it easy for you to grasp them and learn more efficiently. Chapter 2. The human brain is the platform on which information, memories, and experiences are developed. The human memory is still the most important and crucial component in the body. It's where data is processed and delivered to various areas of the body for various purposes. The brain is organized in such a way that various regions are in charge of different functions. Scientists were able to understand how it works by studying certain patients. The brain is split into 3 basic components. The entorhinal cortex is responsible for filtering incoming information. The hippocampus is where memory formation begins. The neocortex stores conscious memories once they are flagged as keepers. Memories are made up of a network of connected cells in the brain. These cells collaborate to send out impulses known as neurons. When the brain requests an output from a previously stored memory, the neurons flash messages. Synapses are neuron flashes that occur inside many cells as you attempt to retain or recall a memory, and they thicken with repeated usage. Patience and determination are needed to grow because it takes time to perfect the art of learning. By studying 13 epileptic patients who were awaiting surgery in 2008, doctors at the University of California were able to record brain formation and retrieval. Each patient was shown brief video snippets from famous programs such as Seinfeld and The Simpsons. The scientist monitored the patient's neuron flashes as they viewed the movies, and when they were asked to remember what they had seen, the flashes were extremely comparable in strength to when they had first seen the video. Different kinds of memories exist in the brain, each with its own set of activities. Episodic memory is a collection of previous events, memories, and experiences that occurred at a certain location and time. Semantic memory is needed to recall numbers, ideas, and words that have been learned. Motor learning memory is connected with continuous practice in order to improve learning. Did you know? According to a Brandon Hall study, learning through e-learning typically requires 40% to 60% less employee time than learning the same material in a traditional classroom setting. Chapter 3. Forgetting is not failure. Rather, it's an uncommon technique that aids learning. People have a widespread misunderstanding regarding learning and forgetting. They often associate forgetting something with failure, but this isn't completely accurate. In fact, it's almost the reverse. In spelling bee contests, for example, it is very typical for competitors to misspell a term that they are acquainted with. This scenario gives the impression that the winners are exceptional, while the rest fall short. Some even believe that the victors have some kind of photographic talent that allows them to see words and things. While some individuals do have genetics that help them learn more easily, there is no such thing as a photographic talent in the brain. If the brain has been well trained, it can operate at a higher level. According to research, forgetting something is a kind of filter that aids the brain in processing the correct information. There would be too much irrelevant information in the brain if people didn't forget things. If those spelling bee competitors were reassembled and given hypothetical questions like, "Who is the President of the United States?" or "What is your Gmail password?" they'd probably blank out. This is because their minds have been so preoccupied with memorizing the right spellings that they have blocked out all other information. What you believe you forgot is, in fact, part of a process that aids your long-term memory. Because the human memory has storage and retrieval strengths, no information is lost. It has just been pushed down due to a lack of retrieval power. Relevant facts and memories are occasionally filtered out by the brain. Memories vanish completely from the brain over time if they are not utilized, according to the new theory of disuse, also known as forget to learn theory. Most of the time, the information and memory that enters the brain is uncontrolled. You run the danger of remembering what you have previously forgotten if you forget what you have previously recalled. Chapter 4. Good habits ensure effective learning. Establishing a habit is critical to learning. Knowing the background of anything you're studying is crucial to learning. Making a practice of retrieving knowledge fast via locations or things is beneficial to learning new things. Answering does not only measure what you remember, it increases overall retention. Benedict, Carey. One of the most effective methods of learning is to reinforce consistent conduct. The material must be updated regularly, utilizing some of the techniques included in the study aid. The study aid are methods that you can use to effectively learn new things. The following are a few examples of these techniques. Choose an area that is quiet and free from distractions. Develop a study ritual to use each time you study. Use earplugs or a headset to block out noise. Say no to those who want to alter your study time. It's possible that your study aid differs from that of others. These techniques come in a variety of shapes and sizes. Some individuals have created a study technique that focuses on drinking coffee, eating chocolates, or smoking cigarettes as a result of their consistency. When you develop a good learning habit, you'll find that it's much easier to study since you can recall memories more easily and quickly. Distractions may also help you learn in certain ways. When you become distracted while studying, you may create a powerful mental picture that is simple to recall. Because what you've learned is linked to that experience, you'll be able to recall what you've learned from it. Chapter 5. Learning becomes easier when studying is spaced out over different periods. Distributed learning is one of the oldest and most successful methods of education. Despite its efficacy, it is not widely used or taught, and even schools and educational institutions seldom utilize or teach it. It usually originates from motherly counsel to children. The process of spreading out studying into tiny time periods rather than studying all at once is known as distributed learning, often known as the spacing effect. It occurs when you divide your study time rather than focusing entirely on it. This method allows you to learn a large quantity of knowledge and remember it for a longer period of time. Distributed learning, unlike cramming, does not cause you to forget information quickly. Cramming is a temporary fix that won't help you enhance your memory. When students prepare for a semester, they invariably forget everything they've crammed when they start the next semester. When you practice distributed learning, you're not overworking your brain because you're spreading out your learning. Your brain operates best when you're calm. Spreading requires forethought. If you have an exam in a week, you may study for 2 days. If you have a month, you can study once a week. If you have a test in 3 months, study every 2 weeks. If you have a test in 6 months, study every 3 weeks. And if you have a test in a year, study every month. Failure to obtain the proper answer isn't anything to be ashamed of when answering multiple choice questions. Failing a question implies you'll find out the correct answer later. Even if you believe you studied well, there are instances when you miss the mark or flunk an exam. Most of the time, what you're dealing with is the illusion of fluency. When you have a fluency illusion, you overestimate the level of your knowledge. These deceptions lead your subconscious mind to make erroneous judgments and conclusions. Spread out your studying and practice reciting what you've just learned until you can do it without checking the book. When you're studying, tests may help you improve your retrieval power. Testing should be seen as a means of determining how well you have learned something or whether or not your study aids and learning methods are effective. Chapter 6. Distraction becomes a valuable tool in learning once you know how to think outside the box. Benedict Carey chose to put some kids to the test with different riddles at a middle school presentation on the suburbs of New York City in 2011. He began by drawing 6 pencils on a whiteboard and instructed the pupils to construct 4 equilateral triangles, with one individual creating each triangle's side. He then offered them another task in which they had to complete a sequence without utilizing a certain letter. The pupils were still unable to solve the first problem by the time he got to the 6th. Breaking up your study time is beneficial in a variety of ways. It enables your brain to store memories in chunks rather than all at once. Later, a kid in the back row indicated that he had figured it out. He simply drew the number 4 by arranging the pencils to create the design, then adding one triangle. He had utilized the 6 pencils in this manner to solve the problem in his own unique way. His response wasn't exactly what Benedict Carey was looking for, but it was accurate, nevertheless. When it comes to addressing issues, thinking outside the box may be beneficial. Distractions are useful tools that may assist you in learning more quickly. When you're distracted, your brain doesn't forget about the question or problem you can't answer. There are 4 ways to solve a problem. Preparation. It doesn't have a set time or duration. The preparation phase is when you wrestle with the problem's background and specifics. Incubation. When you take your attention off an issue and push it into your subconscious mind. This is known as incubation. Even if you're not aware of it, your mind is working around the issue, piecing together the bits from the information you're seeking and the ones stored in your memory. Illumination. This is the point at which you realize what's going on and come up with a solution. Verification. Verification is the step in which you test whether or not your solution works. Chapter 7. Percolation is the best roadmap to achieving a creative solution. Incubation, as successful as it is, does not work for all tests or issues that need to be solved. In certain cases, taking a pause will not provide you with the answer. Rather, it provides you with bits and pieces of information that you may put together. You'll need a lengthier respite than the one you get with the incubation period. Percolation is the term for this extended break. This technique is used more frequently among authors, especially creative ones. Percolation, by definition, is the process of creating something that does not yet exist. When faced with writer's block, many creative authors take lengthy pauses before or after writing. Percolation works best when you immerse yourself in an issue so you can study it from the inside out and figure out the best solution. Unfinished chores remain in your memory longer than completed activities, which is why taking a longer break may help you notice items that can help you address your issues. Find out the best way that percolation works for you and use the extra time to allow your subconscious mind to work. Chapter 8. Knowledge is best gained across various fields and different methods. There are many learning methods, some of which include mixing abilities, reinforcement, perpetual learning. Mixing abilities and ideas during practice, also known as interleaving, aids in gaining a better understanding of an issue and improves performance when it's needed. Interleaving is useful in all fields of study since it prepares you for both familiar and new situations. Psychologists think that combining activities from known patterns with practices from new patterns yields a better outcome. Interleaving aids in the development of methods that can be used across disciplines, which is why scientists and psychologists have proposed that examinations include mixed issues so that students may choose which approach to employ. In the game of chess, the distinction between a master and a beginner is simple. A master sees what a novice doesn't notice at all. A master can rearrange the pieces on a chessboard in seconds and see moves that a beginner would never think of. Perpetual learning is the term for this kind of learning. It's typical among game masters, whether it's chess, soccer, or tennis. A great soccer player, for example, instinctively understands what to do when the ball lands at his feet. He already has a subconscious awareness that allows him to make split-second choices to outsmart his opponent. Perpetual learning is a natural habit that enables you to unconsciously absorb the information around you. Learning necessitates attempting to find more solutions than are immediately apparent. Reinforcement is an important aspect of learning. A beginner can comprehend and execute simple lines of code, but it takes an expert programmer to create programs that will successfully operate large systems. Perceptual learning involves delving into your subconscious to take in information that can help you make better decisions faster. Perceptual learning is dynamic, self-correcting, and self-tuning. Building perceptual learning is feasible, and computer technology and advances have made it simpler. Perceptual learning modules, PLMs, are computers intended to aid in the development of perception-based learning. PLMs are often in the form of simulators and are particularly beneficial to pilots and astronauts. PLMs may be used in any area of study, but they're especially useful for physicians, surgeons, and instructors. Chapter 9. Sleep is very important to the brain, which is why good sleep brings better performances. There is no scientific reason for why people fall asleep. Two hypotheses have emerged in the quest to solve the enigma of sleeping. The ability to sleep is a time management adaptation. Memory consolidation occurs during sleep. While you sleep, your brain is at work, putting together bits of information into a very clear and vivid image. Some scientists have claimed that when they wake up from a nap, they are able to solve issues. After dozing off, Russian chemist Dmitry Mendeleev, who was having trouble creating a periodic table of elements, informed a colleague that he saw a table where all the elements fell into place. The importance of sleep in memory consolidation cannot be overstated. People who get enough sleep do significantly better in exams and examinations, according to research from a variety of sources. Sleep comes in different stages. Stage 1, REM, rapid eye movement. Stage 2, Stage 3, Stage 4, and Stage 5 are the 5 phases of sleep in humans. Each of these phases is critical for brain consolidation. Sleep deprivation is harmful to the brain and may result in minor symptoms such as loss of focus, attention, and effective activity, as well as severe symptoms such as dementia. Sleep is a kind of learning that most people are unaware of. It's unconscious learning that occurs while the eyes are closed. Sleep boosts productivity and enhances decision-making. I no longer think of naps or knocking off early as evidence of laziness or a waste of time or, worst of all, a failure of will. I think of sleep as learning with my eyes closed. Benedict, Carey. Conclusion. There are many other techniques and approaches to learning that are not well known to many people. Several elements of life that seem to be unpleasant are really opportunities to learn in novel ways. Learning is a transfer of information. It is the process of integrating knowledge from different sources to produce a previously known output or to generate a completely new one. Once a goal becomes activated, it trumps all others and begins to drive our perceptions, our thoughts, our attitudes. John Bargh. The most effective approach to study is to learn across disciplines while incorporating a variety of patterns and practices into your routine. Since this method pushes you to absorb broad principles of adjustment, various practice is more effective than concentrated practice in terms of improving performance. Subjecting yourself to the same exercise over and over again may result in significant improvements in your abilities, but they are not on the same level as when you train yourself in new patterns. Mixed studies outperform fixed studies in terms of effectiveness. For example, the educational sector places a greater emphasis on set study schedules. Everyone is exposed to a large number of tasks that are almost identical to one another, and they are corrected with responses that follow a predictable pattern. Learning has changed through time, and the traditional methods are no longer appropriate for today's environment. Humans need novel learning methods, and this bite-sized book contains some of the most effective patterns available. Try this. Break up your study time using the guidelines in this summary. Evaluate your position and see if the technique works for you or not.